What's up, motos? We're here at 73 Moto. It's morning, beautiful sunshine, and we are getting ready to ride down into Orlando. Gonna get some help from Calin and changing the oil on the R9T. The 1-year service is due, but there's a lot of things on that 1-year service that I don't feel like I need to do right now. It's 1 year or 6,000 miles, and I don't have 6,000 miles on this bike, but this annoying service light will not go away. We do need an oil change, so we're gonna do that. I bought the tool to reset that service clock, and I don't know, this is gonna be a mistake to do it myself. Let's find out.
What we do here is go back.
Made it to Calin's. A bit of a journey. Met Calin over at this little coffee spot right by his house that is in walking distance, so he walked back over here. And so we're gonna get the bike in the garage, head over to Eurocycles. There he is. Hi guys, we're here in the car heading to Eurocycles. Eurocycles?
Yeah, well, now it's Orlando Motos, I think.
Eurocycles is way cooler.
Magic City Cycles used to be way cooler, but...
So what are we doing today, Colin? And what I said in the opening here of this video, I said, am I making a mistake? You know, I've never done anything like this before with a bike, which is pretty lame, but I definitely think that I should know more about getting into the guts of the bike. What we're doing is fairly simple, right? What do you think?
I would wholeheartedly agree that you should be doing more of this. I think I mentioned it on our R9T video a couple weeks ago that the bike is pretty easy to work on for regular maintenance. Everything is pretty easily accessible. What we're doing is pretty standard stuff. We're going to be changing the engine oil, the transmission oil, and the drive shaft oil. I'll maybe bleed the brakes as well. Just give the bike a good look over and make sure that everything's working properly. That's about it. It's pretty standard routine stuff.
All right, well, let's see how this goes. We'll pick this back up at Euro Sport Magic Cycles. All right, we made it to BMW. We're gonna get the parts that we need, the fluids basically, and then we'll head back to Calin's and start wrenching. But I'll give you a quick tour of the dealership inside here. All right, we just left Eurocycles.
Magic Euro
Motos. We're not gonna give our star rating on it. So we got, what do we get? We got 4 liters of BMW Motorrad oil. We got
1 liter of transmission oil, 1 can of brake fluid, and then all of the washers, O-rings, gaskets, filters, and accoutrements.
And so total cost so far $237, something like that.
232-ish.
232. We will be back to the garage in a second and get it going. All right, we're in Calin's little secret hideout here, the Mini Evo Motos garage, and we got everything we need. So I'm gonna go take a quick ride, get the oil warmed up, and we'll wheel the bike in here and get it going. All right, Calin, what are we doing here?
Well, first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some aluminum foil on your headers so whenever I'm draining the oil, it doesn't get all over the pipes and get them all filthy. Look out, it's got a little crush washer on it. This one, it came off without it, so the crush washer is still stuck to the engine. So we'll need to remember to peel that off before we put the drain plug back in.
So we pulled the drain plug. We got new washers that we're gonna put on, and we want to replace that because
It's just standard practice. You can reuse them, but whenever you're torquing down the plug, a lot of the tension, a lot of the torque goes to the washer itself. So it's supposed to actually crush to form a good seal. Of course, it wouldn't be a BMW without you needing proprietary tools to get the oil.
this is a special BMW tool. Got the oil filter out. What is the next step here?
So, next step is move the drain pan underneath the transmission and then drain that, get that ready for its change too.
19 millimeter transmission oil bolt. And so the best thing to do with the used motor oil is just dump it in your neighbor's garden, correct?
Yeah. It's great fertilizer. The neighbors love it. The EPA loves it. Just don't hold back with it.
Oh, look at this.
I've normally got a whole lot more room to work with when people aren't trying to film shit and take up all of my fucking workbench
It's all,
space.
I would have just paid the $800 and had Sky do it, but the thing that pushed me over the edge was, hey, we can make a cool video about this.
Oh yeah.
And you know, Calin loves to be on the camera.
Oh yeah. I look so good on it too.
All right, so now we're removing the fill bolt for the transmission fluid so that we can get some air in there. If there's anything left inside the transmission oil, will drain out. Breaking all those factory seals, baby.
Drain plugs are magnetic, so they will collect whatever metal shavings are in your transmission. A little bit is fine because it's still metal on metal contact despite the oil, but if you're starting to see this all fouled up completely with metal shavings, then you might have a problem and you might need to look into that. Because we are going to have to take the exhaust off and we're going to have to take the rear wheel off to get to the fill hole for the drive shaft.
Oh boy.
Your drive shaft drain bolt down here. Bit of brake clean, spray it on a clean shop towel, get all of those surfaces cleaned up, make sure that none of the washers or gaskets are left behind still stuck to where the new stuff is going, and start screwing everything back in, start putting the oil back in. A benefit of getting this cleaned is, and there's oil, on the engine or dripping, then it might mean you've got a leak, so that means maybe you haven't tightened something up properly. So it's just a small extra step, but it's definitely one worth taking. Gasket from the old filter. Again, this is one thing that you want to make sure that it's come off. You don't want to screw the new filter on top of the old gasket because it's not going to form a proper seal, so you're going to get leaks.
So our new filter came with a new gasket.
Yeah, see here. We've got washers for everything, for every bolt that we took out, every drain plug bolt, and almost every fill bolt. There we go, aluminum crush washer goes on top of the bolt. So all of these bolts, when you put them back in, what you'll want to do is hand start them first because you want to make sure that the threads are seated properly. Because if you start torquing them down from the beginning with a wrench and you cross thread them, then you are in a world of trouble, my friend. But they do all come with torque spec. You can either find them on the internet or you can find them in the maintenance manual if you've got access to one. I've got a Haynes manual for these bikes. All of the torque specs are listed, so we're gonna torque that down to the required torque. One thing you want to do before you get your new oil filter in, since this one goes up into the filter housing, you want to fill it with new fresh engine oil and get a little bit of oil lubricating this gasket, because that's going to create a better seal when you're putting it back into the bike. Put some oil into the filter, just a little bit of a smear of fresh engine oil on the gasket, like that. The thing with oil filters, you don't want to lean on them and put a whole lot of torque on them. Most manuals, they'll recommend you get these hand tight. We're gonna put the filter wrench on it and make sure that it's on there snug, but you don't want to put a whole lot of torque on them. There's no need. If you do that, you might have trouble on your next oil change getting it off, and it's never fun having a seized up oil filter. This being a European bike, obviously all of the torque specs are going to be in Newton meters. The oil drain bolt torque spec is 32 Newton meters. That converted to foot pounds comes down to 23.6, rounded up to 24. There you go. You got a click.
So again, we're just getting this snug, not super tight.
One thing you want to make sure when you put your oil back into your engine, you do not want to overfill these things. They will run poorly when you run the risk of breaking a seal because of the excessive pressure. The Haynes manual says that the bike has a max oil capacity of 4 liters, but that is max. We don't want to fill it to the brim. So we're going to go ahead and put in about 3.8 liters of engine oil. We're going to check it because the bike's got a sight glass, and we're going to see where it's at. If we need to add any more after that, we will. If not, good to go. Nice and clean, and now we are ready to add our oil in. Now, for those of you who are watching, the engine weight that goes in this is 15W50. It's semi-synthetic BMW. We've got the sight glass over here on this side, and you can see the little ring. Right now, your engine oil is at the very top of the sight glass. So technically, that would mean that it's slightly overfilled. But this isn't how you want to measure your engine oil. You want to measure your engine oil level after the bike has been running for a little bit, just so it has time to get distributed to the oil cooler, the engine, all of that, all of the bits and pieces that it needs to lubricate. So right now we're going to get done with doing all of the other oil changes, and then we are going to fire the bike up, let it warm up for a little bit, make sure the engine gets its oil, make sure the oil cooler gets its share of oil, it gets distributed to the filter, and then we're going to check and see if we need to top off or take any of it out.
So this one is set to
22 pound-feet of torque. There we go.
Alright, tires off. The fill bolt.
The fill bolt is off. It is right here. This is where your drive shaft oil goes. It's the same oil as the gearbox oil, like we said before. It takes 180 mil, and a little bit of a pain to get to. This is honestly the most annoying thing to get to as far as fluid changes go on this motorcycle.
God forbid they just put it right here.
No, that would no. Why would you do that? Before we get her cleaned up, we should probably put the drain bolt back in, because we do not want any of that stuff to go out.
All right, putting the drain plug back in for the shaft drive fluid. Don't forget to do that, and then we will fill the fluid. We just finished up and we're gonna go take her for a little couple-minute test ride, just make sure everything's properly lubricated. But in true Evil Motos fashion, what I just noticed, the odometer. Should I do a spin around? Later, brother. All right, leaving Calin's. On the way back to Sanford, and I'm trying to beat this rain, so we didn't have time to do the reset on the warning or service indicator light, but I know where to plug it in, and it's should be fairly easy, so I'm going to do that when I get home in the garage. But big shout out, Calin. Thank you so much, man. You know, like every video, I have cool people on that I've met, and once again, you know, Calin is taking his whole Saturday pretty much. It's 2:10. We started at 9, you know, just to help me out, and he does it for the passion. Once again, I mean, he's doing it because he loves doing it, and you know, partially, you know, to help me out, and we're friends, and I greatly appreciate it. But it's motorcycles, the passion that we all have for it, and being a part of a group of like-minded individuals that that help each other when they need it. It's awesome. I mean, it's part of the appeal to the whole thing, you know? Yeah, riding a motorcycle is cool. It's fun as hell. And sometimes you want to ride alone, sometimes you want to ride in a group. But it's the people you meet along the way that that really make it worth the while. And I'm just so grateful to be in a position where I can own a beautiful motorcycle like this and meet all these people and, you know, be a part of this. I know it's probably not like real, but doesn't it always feel like after you get your car or your motorcycle back from having something done to it, you're like, oh yeah, I can feel the difference. I can totally feel the difference. I'm sure it's running exactly the same as it was, but it's just healthier and happier.